Yo, peace was good. Welcome to the install my CD collection. This is part 21. Let's get the show started. Excuse me. The first album that we talk about is Cool J's seventh album, Phenomenon, released in 1997. You know, Cool J around this time, 97, the 90s. You know, Cool J, one of the most popular rappers at the time and stuff like that. He just put out Mr. Smith 2 years before in 1995. Definitely one of my favorite Cool J albums. This album, Phenomenon, it was executively produced by P. Diddy or some Puffy Combs, whatever. And you can tell by the beats, by the production of this album. Known for songs like 4321 with Rhymin, Method Man, Canibus, and DMX. You know, that album really sparked the beef between Cool J and Canibus, because when you know, Canibus, he had the line say, "Yo, LL, let me borrow the mic off your arm," and you know, Cool J, you know, took that as a diss, you know, and that's how that whole beef started and shit like that. So, and we already know who the victor was, you know, but yeah, 4321, Hot Hot Hot, Candy, what's that song? I remember Father. Yeah, Father. That was a single as well. Overall, this album was okay. In my opinion, this album wasn't as good as his early shit. My favorite albums for LL was Mama Said Knock You Out, 14 Shots to the Dome, which is a very underrated album in my opinion. A lot of people shit on that album because Cool J, he started going gangster with that. He started going the gangster tip. People were not used to that. People thought it as a gimmick. I don't know. That was a dope album, and Mr. Smith. But yeah, this album, I feel like this was like the beginning of Cool J falling off. I still haven't done a review for this, so I will do a review on this. So stay tuned for that. Then we got I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, but fuck it, I got it at the thrift store for $2, so why not, right? I got Young MC's Stone Cold Rhymin, released in 1989. I actually enjoyed this album, man. I know a lot of people, you know, people shit on Young MC, but I like him, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't heard his other stuff, only heard this album. I know he put out a couple of albums back in the 90s. I think his last time he put out, I think it was back in like 93, 94. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, Stone Cold Rhymin, man. My introduction to Young MC was from that movie Uncle Buck with John Candy. One of the Hughes brothers, John Hughes' best movies that he ever put out, in my opinion. Besides you know, Home Alone and you know, The Breakfast Club and all that shit. But yeah, this scene where John Candy was looking for Tina, his niece that went to the party with Bug, that bitch ass dude Bug, and he was looking through the party and stuff like that, and he finds him cheating on Tina and stuff like that with another girl. Well, in the background they was playing the song Bust a Move, and I was like, oh, that shit is tough. So I was looking through the back credits, because you know how like they played, like they show like the back credits like for all the songs they played, and they said Bust a Move by Young MC. I was like, yo, that shit is dope. So I was like, okay, and then I've always liked that song since, you know, since I've seen that movie. And so this is the MC responsible for that song. And so yeah, pretty solid. I believe it has 2 singles, Bust a Move and Principal's Office. It's a solid, I like the album, you know what I mean? I take it for what it is. Don't expect lyrical craziness, you know what I mean? Just take it for what it is. It's pop rap at its best, 80s pop rap. How I compare this album with artists, like, you know, if you like Curtis Blow, you know, like that type of rhyme, like that type of rhyming, like you know, Curtis Blow, like the old school rappers from the 80s. That's what I get from this, you know what I mean? Like that style of rhyming and stuff like that. Production, I like it, you know what I mean? It's pretty decent. Production was done by the Dust Brothers, by Quincy Jones Jr. You know, fucking dope. I highly recommend you pick it up if you find it. Excuse me, sorry about that. Then we got Little Kim's first album, Hardcore, released in 1996. Is it 96? Yeah, 1996. You guys should know who Little Kim is. You know, she was down with Junior Mafia, down with Biggie, affiliated with Biggie and stuff like that. You know, her and Biggie had a thing going on. You know, they used to fuck and shit like that, whatever. Very solid album, man. Definitely a classic album. Known for songs like No Time, which is a dope song. Crush on You, Queen Bitch, Not Tonight. The remix though, they only had the album version of the album. The remix with who was that? I believe it was the Brat, Missy Elliott, and I forgot who. I think it was an MC Light or some shit like that, or Mariah Carey. Could be wrong about that, but yeah, fucking solid album, man. My opinion, her best album, in my opinion. And back when she used to look bad, yo, she was bad back in the day. Now, not so much. You know what I mean? Her other albums like the Notorious K.I.M. that came out in 2000, that one was okay. You know, songs like How Many Licks and it was alright. It wasn't too crazy about that. La Bella Mafia with Magic Stick, that was okay too. I actually like that song Magic Stick. And The Naked Truth that came out in 2005. I wasn't too crazy about that album. I don't know how the fuck Naked Truth got 5 mics, because that album was not worth 5 mics. 2 mics at best. You know, they had the song Lighters Up and shit like that. I don't know. The album was it was meant to me, you know what I mean? But if you want to get into Lil' Kim, I highly recommend checking this album out first. And you know, fucking solid album, man. Highly recommend it, man. If you like mid to late 90s hip hop, East Coast hip hop, you'll definitely enjoy this album. Pick it up. Then we got The Firm, their first album and only album they ever put out. The album released in 1997. Highly anticipated when it first came out. I mean, AZ, Foxy Brown, and Nas on the same album. I mean, you can't ask for anything better, you know what I mean? Known for songs like Phone Tap and Firm Biz. I believe Firm Biz was the first single of the album. This album I did not like at all. I'll do a review on these albums. Did not like this album. The production could have been a lot better. Dr. Dre and Trackmasters, they executive produced the album. So when people really executive produce the album, you know, they really they kind of sense like the direction of the album production wise. Sometimes like they might be executive producers that have nothing to do with the direction, but they have to do with like you know, the marketing and like, you know, the ads and all that sort of the commercials and the promotion of the album and stuff like that. But since Dr. Dre and Trackmasters are producers themselves, they definitely have the direction of the album as far as production. And you can tell like the production, I don't know, could have been a little bit better. Yeah, just expect a review on this album. But The Firm, I don't know what I recommend it. I guess, yeah, I would recommend it to see if you want to know how they sounded back in like 1997, 96, 97. But yeah, this is The Firm, the album released in 1997. Pick it up, I guess. Then we got Madonna, Ray of Light, released in 1998. Everybody should know who Madonna is. Mega pop star, one of the most influential artists in history of all time. Around this time, you know, Madonna, she just put out Evita back in like 1996. You know, around this time, you know, she was trying to find herself, you know what I mean? So she got into herself to Kabbalah. She started studying like Hinduism, started doing yoga and all that shit. And then like when recording this album, it was a bitch recording this album based on what I read, because you know, a lot of production started fucking up around the time, so it took like months to like actually get the album finished. I think it took like over 4 months to record. And yeah, she put this album out, and this album right here, is one of my all-time favorite albums from her. If not, it's my favorite album from Madonna. Known for songs like Ray of Light, Frozen, which was my introduction to this album, because fucking Frozen. This album, this song, Frozen, is so dope. Frozen, Ray of Light. I think Candy Perfume Girl was a single as well. Drowned World, Swim, I believe was a single as well. Fucking love this album, man. It's crazy because this album was actually it actually introduced electronic music to mainstream media, because before, like techno, like electronic music wasn't really, it was more of an underground thing, you know what I mean? Like this album, you know, it, like I said, it was like a major influence to mainstream media, music, you know what I mean? Like I said, introduced techno, like electronic music into the mainstream, and it is very highly sought out, very popular right now. A lot of people are into the whole techno tip that I don't like. I like techno, don't get me wrong, but I like techno from like the 80s and 90s. I don't know, techno back then was a lot more gritty. It was more gritty sounding, in my opinion. Like everything is more, I don't know, it's more clean, it's more polished, you know what I mean? But very highly influential album. One of the best songs that ever came out in the 90s. One of the best pop albums of all time, in my opinion. I highly recommend it, man. Highly fucking recommend it. The Madonna, I like her 80s stuff, and also do like some of her 90s stuff. Her stuff in the 2000s, I didn't really care for. When she came out with that song Music, I lost interest in Madonna. But yeah, if you're gonna get into Madonna, I highly recommend checking this album out. Highly recommend it. Let's see what time I got left. Yeah, I still got time. Then we got Passion, Baller's Lady. Baller's Lady, released in 1996. Passion, yes, this is the same Passion from Eric Sermon's when she was featured on Eric Sermon's second album. What's that album? Double or Nothing. Another dope album from Eric Sermon. Very underrated album. Highly recommend checking that album out. When she was featured on the song Move On, and she was also featured on his compilation album, the Insomnia album that came out, back in 1996. The Insomnia album, when she made the song, what's that song? As it was called As The. Track 4. If you guys own that album, the song number 4, As The, that's the same female MC or MC that spit on that, and she was also featured on the remix of Just the Way with Alfonso Hunter. The female remix. She was also featured on that. I think she was the first MC on that performed on the album. On the song, excuse me. And this is the same girl. So she released her own album, completely different, because when I picked this up, I didn't know it was the same Passion. You know, when I first heard it, I assumed like Passion, she was like more of an East Coast MC, you know what I mean? But she's from Oakland. So this is like a completely West Coast album, you know what I mean? Which I have no problem with, because, you know, I like West Coast hip hop. Yeah, definitely a dope album. Highly recommended if you like West Coast hip hop. Passion, from what I found out, excuse me, it's a little bit too loud. Yeah, my bad about that. Yeah, Passion, she's West Coast MC. She's known for affiliation with like Too Short, E40, and stuff like that. So, how I could describe this album? How can I describe it? It is gangsta R&B. That's how I could describe this album with. You know, she has like an approach of a gangster rapper, but with an R&B twist to it. That's how I could describe this album. I believe she came out with another album back in like 98, 99, and that's the last time she ever put out an album. I believe after she put out this album, she was dropped from MCA Records, because this was the album that this is the record label she was under, MCA Records, and she was dropped because of poor sales and stuff like that. She was dropped off MCA Records. So the singles this song was known for, I believe, is Jiggles Get Lonely Too, which I believe is the only single off the album. But yeah, if you like West Coast hip hop, if you're into like Too Short, like pimp rap, that type of thing, you'll definitely enjoy this album. This is Passion Baller's Lady, released in 1996. Go pick it up. Then we got AZ's second album, Pieces of a Man, also known as Pieces of a Black Man, released in 1998. Very dope album. You guys should know what AZ is. I did a review of his what's that album he came out? 9 Lives album back in like 2001. Did a brief review of his first album, Do or Die. I did a brief review on his AWOL album back in 2005. That came out in 2005. Yeah, fucking dope album. Another dope album by AZ. Definitely one of my favorite. This and Do or Die are my favorite albums from AZ. This album right here, known for singles like what are the singles of this album? I think What's the Deal was a single, and there was a song that he put out called Hey AZ, that was supposed to be on this album, but it was scrapped off the album. I guess because of sample clearances or some shit like that. But yeah, very dope album. A little bit more darker than Do or Die. This a little bit more. It's a little bit more mellow, a little bit more darker. Very dope album, very underrated. Highly recommend checking this album out. This is when he was under New Truck Records, which is a subsidiary record label under Virgin Records, and he was dropped off the label, I guess, due to poor sales and shit like that. But yeah, if you're gonna get into AZ, I would start off with Do or Die, or even start with this album. Yeah, highly recommended. Expect a review on this album. Then we got the group Them, with their album Themselves. This was released in 2000. The group Them, they're a group from I think from Oakland, California. They're a California-based group. They're known for their affiliation with Anticon Records. Very solid album, man. This album was actually recorded back in 1997, 1998, and it wasn't put out until two years later. Yeah, man. Anything, just a disclaimer. Anything Anticon based, I would highly recommend picking up, because a lot of those albums are very hard to come by. Because a lot of them, they were like, they weren't really, they didn't really sell like in a lot of places. Like, they sold them, but there was like very limited distribution. So like a lot of times, a lot of stuff are hard to come by Anticon. Themselves, them, they're known for their affiliation with Atmosphere, Slug, the whole Rhyme Sayers family and shit like that. But yeah, this album right here, fucking solid album, man. As you can see how it looks, it's all black, fucking dope. The jewel case, it's all black and shit, you know what I mean? Fucking love this album. Very gritty, the beats are very gritty, it's very grimy. Yeah, very solid, highly recommended. Then we got Brand Nubian's latest album. They came out, I shouldn't say the latest, but because they came out with an album back in 2000 something called Time's Running Out. But when I get that album, I'll talk about that. Everybody know Brand Nubian. They came out back in 1989, I should say. They came out with the album One for All, or All for One, I believe it's the name. No, One for All was the name of the album. All for One was a single. Came out with that album back in 1990. Their first appearance was 1989, and they came out with they came out with One for All. They came out with In God We Trust, was in my opinion their best album. Then they came out with Everything Is Everything. Came out in '94. The album was meant to me. Foundation was like their comeback album. Foundation, released in 1988. That was a decent album. I like that. Don't have that in my collection, but I will pick it up if I do get it, when I do find it. And this album that came out in 2004. This album was alright, you know what I mean? Production was done mostly by Lord Jamar. He executive produced this album, and Chuck Wilson as well produced was executive producer of this album. Production is done by Lord Jamar mostly, and you could tell. This album was alright. It wasn't their best album. I don't know. I like their '90s stuff a little bit better. You know what I mean? But there's nothing to take away from this album. This album is just not as memorable as, let's say, One for All or In Guys We Trust. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you're a brand Nubian fan, you just want to be a collectionist, a collection. I don't think that is a word. If you're a collector, you just want to fit this in a collection. Highly recommend checking this album out. This is Brand Nubian, Fire in the Hole, released in 2004. Then we got Spice One's fourth album, 1996, released in 1995. Very dope album. Another dope album by Spice One. Definitely one of his best. One of my favorite albums from Spice One. It's interesting with this album because when he was making this album, he was actually on the run from the cops, so he actually made this album on the low. Actually, after he put this album out, he had to turn himself in for the cops because I think he had like a weapons charge or some shit like that. So he was like on the run when making this album. So, but yeah, this album is fucking dope. Known for songs like 1996, which was a single featuring MC8, and I believe that was the only single off the album. I know 1996, Kill 'Em All was a single, and there was another single, can't remember on top of my head. But yeah, very solid album. Definitely one of his best albums in my opinion. In fact, damn, like my favorite albums from Spice One, I would have to say is 187 he wrote, America's Nightmare, and this album. Those three are my favorite Spice One albums. The rest were alright. Black Bossellini was actually pretty dope too, and his first album. After that, I kind of not lost interest, but I just stopped checking Spice One's latest stuff, like Immortalized and all the other stuff. I didn't really check those albums, but Spice One, 1996, highly recommended. Definitely one of the best albums that come out of the West Coast, in my opinion, especially around '95. West Coast hip hop, the whole G-Funk era. Fucking love this album. Highly recommend it. If you like West Coast hip hop, definitely pick this album up. Then we got Cel Killa Kali, released in 1996. Cel, an MC from he's from the Bay Area. I think he's from like I think he's from Oakland. I'm not sure. He's from the Bay Area. I know that. He's known for his affiliation with Spice One, E40, and stuff like that. Very dope album. Cel, he's one of those MCs that don't really get a lot of mention. Very underrated in my opinion. This album is known for singles For the Skrill featuring E40 B Legit, who's E40's brother. It's Going Down, which was the highest selling single of the album, and Can't Tell Me Shit, which was also the single as well. But yeah, like I said, if you like mid-90s West Coast hip hop, G-Funk hip hop, this is an album to pick up. I highly recommend it. Very dope. This is his second album. I don't have his first album, Heat for Your Ass, which came out I believe in 1994. But yeah, Killa Kali, Cel, released in 1996. Pick it up. Last but not least is J Live, The Hereafter, released in 2005. J Live, for those who don't know who J Live is, he's an MC from New York. He got to start back in the mid-90s. He put out his first single, I believe, was called Longevity. That came out, I believe, back in 1995. J Live, he's known for his lyricism and shit like that. Very dope MC. Known for like doing a lot of open mics and stuff like that. I think he was part of the whole Lyricist Lounge, that era and some stuff like that. He was supposed to come out with an album called The Best Part. It was supposed to come out back in the mid-90s. But that album actually got shelved, and it didn't come out to, I think, like 2001 or 1999. No, it came out in 1999. Excuse me. And then he came out with a I forgot the album that came out in 2001. But my introduction to J Live was he put out a song called Them That's Not, and where the beat starts off slow. The sample is kind of like a 1950s sample. That's what it sounds like to me. And it starts off slow. He starts rhyming slow, and it starts getting more up tempo. And he starts rapping with the cadence, with the tempo of the beat. And then when the beat starts slowing down at the end, he starts rhyming slow. And it's like a dope original track. And that was my introduction to him. And that was like back in like '01. And I was like, yo, this dude J Live is dope. But yeah, this is his 2005 album. It's been a while since I heard the album. I heard it back in 2005. But yeah, man, J Live, if you never heard of him, I would pick up his the Best Part album first and then work your way up. But yeah, this J Live, The Hereafter, released in 2005. Pick it up. And that's it for part 21. Stay tuned for part 22. Oh, before I finish, okay, excuse the mess. You see this right here? This box? Yeah, you see that? Those are the albums that I gotta cover too as part of my CD collection. And I think that will be it for the rest of my CD collection. Alright? And that's it, people. Stay tuned for part 22 sometime today or next week. Alright? Peace.